If you don't wash my clothes fast enough, they reek of ammonia. I don't know if that's good or bad. Doctor, let me know. Chime in.
Yep, chime in.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coaches on Physioballs. Coaches on Couches.
Being slouches.
Actually, we're not very slouchy.
In fact, posture is feeling much better.
I'm feeling really, really good.
The ball upgrade we did.
So, about that. No couch.
No couch.
We're throwing around ideas on a better setup.
Yeah, we'd love input on it.
Yeah, we're
Testing out the physios.
We're trying. Yeah, we're still on the fence.
Balance discs.
Balance disc or not. We're standing on one leg next.
Single-legged balance disc next time.
We're trying to get a better setup for interviews and actually like looking at each other, providing a little bit better conversation versus having our guests staring out into the open.
We listened to that one comment that said.
Yeah. Or the one interviewer who was like, yeah, it was kind of weird. I was just kind of staring at the camera out there.
As we looked past them.
As we were leaning forward to look at each other. So yeah, we're working on a new set. But this is our 101st episode.
101.
You know, anybody can make a big friggin' deal out of 100.
Yeah. Why?
We go 101.
Plus one.
Yeah.
100. 101.
Yeah.
Bring it.
I would do it in a British accent, but I don't want to offend my British friends.
No. And you don't have a good British accent.
I don't.
True.
So 101st episode. We actually don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about. We've got our buddy Daniel Scruggs. He's going to be lobbing questions at us about previous episodes and whatever he comes out. I don't know. He just came up with this episode by himself. So this could be a train wreck. This could be a train wreck. So stay tuned. I'm Coach Dale Sanford.
I am Coach Bryant Funston. We are the co-founders of BPC Performance Coaching, where we specialize in helping time-crunched athletes optimize their busy schedules so they can maximize their athletic performance. You can find out more about BPC by going to buildpeakcompete.com. Then just look for all the social buttons and click those and follow along.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe. It's like a virtual high five. I love high fives.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, so if you want to provide virtual high fives, hit the like button, share, comment below, ring, what is a bell? Is there a bell?
Ding it.
If there's still a bell, ring it.
Yes.
And we'll keep bringing some content to you.
Only the best.
Scruggs,
Yep.
what you got?
All right, so I figured we'd start it off with a reasonable.
Don't be reasonable.
Question.
Lob it.
What's your most memorable moment from the podcast?
I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna probably go with I won't name names, but the athlete we had that pretty much sweated out the center of the couch. It's a high pressure situation. What people don't realize is the airflow in here.
It's not great.
It's not great.
It's worse in the summer.
Wintertime, super cold. Summertime, blazing hot.
Yeah, we record this presently in my bonus room, office, studio, all in one room, and it's above a garage, and so it gets cold in the winter and
Gets
hot in the summer.
But yeah, this athlete was a bit nervous. Hadn't seen this many cameras before. This many bright lights.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sweat that was on the
By the way,
couch afterwards.
I really hope the guy who bought the couch doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Now, besides that, man, I always like the interviews. I think the interviews are always kind of my highlight. Tons of great athletes. I love highlighting them. I love learning more about them. But any of our athlete interviews have always been an enjoyable one for me.
We are definitely working on more interviews, even if they're not directly sitting with us, call-in interviews, that sort of thing. My most memorable moment was when we had Bobby Weekley on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
And
also an athlete interview.
Athlete interview. And he got the whole sock thing. His sock game was strong that day.
Yep.
And had a little message.
Yes.
On his socks. Believe it was a call for a good time. And then he literally put somebody's phone number.
One of his friends' numbers.
on his other sock.
Yeah, there was a little back and forth play going on between those folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that one was fun. I'd forgotten about that.
And Bobby's always a good guy to talk to. Him and I are we duel movie quotes.
Oh yeah.
He won that time, but
he's strong with the movie quotes.
They just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, he brings his A game on that.
That's my favorite moment thus far. Mm-hmm. What you got, Scrug?
Speaking about getting some call-ins, we've actually got a surprise caller.
Oh,
it's your mom.
Yeah.
No, but so let's see. Biggest personal accomplishment during the Cock era or Coaches on Couches era.
So many COC jokes have flown around in the last several years. You know, we've been doing the podcast. Granted, we got really sidetracked during the pandemic. And we went from doing like 50 episodes in the first year to like, 13? We did like 13 or 14. So we're out for blood. We're getting more this year. But personal accomplishment would be slurring my words in the very first episode.
I just did the intro without the without the prompter.
Yeah,
that's a big accomplishment.
For those that don't know me that well, I'm fairly introverted. So just being able to sit here and chat, it's easier when you're chatting with somebody you know. But sitting here and just talking about stuff, not my forte. I'm not a walk into a room guy and just start a conversation with the wall like this one over here. Mm-hmm. But
once you start talking about a topic though,
it's easy when you
enjoy. You're good with that.
Yeah, talking about things that
talk
that you love. Small talk,
just small talking in a big room. Not going to happen.
I'm not great with it.
There we go. Not a real great accomplishment, but
accomplishment.
That's an accomplishment.
Well, we're getting to 101.
Clearly, we didn't review these questions
what more do you
beforehand.
want? We're at 101 episodes. I mean, that's a big part of. That's a lot of hours in my life.
Yeah.
I could be bouncing on the physioball.
So this one's from social media.
Oh.
So someone wrote this in.
Okay.
They want to know which one of you smells better.
All right.
I've never gone to Smellingdale, so.
I mean, are we talking like
post-workout?
Yeah, post-workout, or like.
That's got to be me.
I will tell you that I stink to high heaven after a workout. If my clothes don't get washed quick enough, it smells
Remember when
like
you were smelling like vinegar for a long time.
My clothes smell like ammonia. If you don't wash my clothes fast enough, they reek of ammonia. I don't know if that's good or bad. Doctor, let me know. Chime in.
Yep, chime in. So Bryant for the win on that one.
I also don't wear deodorant, so there you go.
Yeah.
Definitely Bryant.
It's a total health choice.
Definitely Bryant for the win.
You see this mustache? I don't wear deodorant. Come on.
Oh, wow. Well, coming at you with the performance advice today, aren't we?
Yeah. All right. So then what is your biggest personal challenge that you have addressed or dealt with during the COC era?
Broken collarbone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually in whatever it was at that point, 12 years of training and racing and stuff like that, I've never had any type of an injury that has taken me out of the game for more than...
Was that like almost 1 year to the day from now? It was pretty darn close.
It was actually, it was the day before my birthday.
That's right.
Last year. Yeah. So February 7th.
Happy broken collarbone day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still there. It's still broken technically. But yeah, I've never actually had an injury that took me out of the game for more than like a couple days. Yeah. Like something that I had to back off for. But I've always been we do the strength work, we do the flow, we walk the walk. We don't just spit this nonsense and hope that you listen to us. So I've done all that, and I've staved off injuries for years, and then went over the handlebars in a bike race. And I've crashed multiple times and never broken anything. But that was a different thing for me because I've never had to back off for that long, never had to sit around for that long and not train. Truth be told, I only didn't train for about 5 days. I got on my bike. I took my mountain bike and put it on the trainer and slammed the seat as far forward as it would go. And then I just put one arm on there and sat up with a sling and at least spun my legs over to do anything.
Well, that's one of the crazy things is people that do have to take extended periods off and it happens. I mean, you're dealing with an athlete right now who just had a bad wreck skiing, not even, doing an endurance sport.
Broke his femoral head.
Off the bike, not able to train. It's going to be, at least 6 weeks non-weight bearing.
Yep.
You don't realize how good it feels to sweat until you aren't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you take for granted. So anytime someone's going through an injury, and if anyone out there is going through one, I feel like it gives you more perspective and more appreciation.
We have a podcast in the works with either one or more of our athletes who've been through some pretty big injuries, long-lasting or multiple injuries. Yeah. But this one for me was a really long time, stretched out because I decided not to get surgery, and just kind of had to wait it out until the pain kind of went away. And then working back in, I kind of did my own physical therapy and worked the range of motion back in. But it was really tough to not be able to go on group rides, and pretty much the only thing I could do was spin on the bike. Couldn't swim, couldn't run. So I spun on the bike and I slept in a lazy boy for 10 weeks. Slept in a lazy boy. Yeah. So that was, we didn't do a whole lot of podcasting during that stretch.
No, definitely not. Mine's going to, for mine, I think just the way we've kind of powered through COVID. I know everyone's dealt with issues through the COVID era. Kind of thinking back, I mean, when COVID was first happening, we did the little joke where we had the Corona bottle image that we had on one of the videos,
we weren't taking it very seriously.
No. And it turns out it turned into a very serious thing. But I like the way the endurance community has just kind of rallied through that. The folks that we work with, we've been blessed to work with folks who stayed motivated through that whole thing. Yeah. That helps us. Obviously it helps us stay more motivated as well. But there was a lot of people that trained through a lot of unknown. I think that's kind of the beauty of endurance sports too, though. What got me hooked to it is you have to suffer in this sport to be good. You have to go through hard times. You have to be disciplined. You have to be motivated to train even on days where you don't want to.
No doubt.
And it teaches you to conquer the hard stuff. And so I think the endurance community, seeing them as a whole come through, COVID in a strong manner. Tons of races coming up right now. I feel like that.
It seems like people are super jazzed because of the promise of having a full season. It's got people really jazzed up now. I'll be honest, as a coach and somebody who makes a living coaching, I was sweating a little bit when the events got canceled. Yeah. I was like, and I'm the panicker of the two of us. I was like, everyone's gonna quit. Everyone's gonna go and do nothing. Panic.
Yeah.
Hit the nuclear button.
Let's take the nuclear button away from Dale. Let's keep that at my house, please.
Yeah. But no, the one of the great things that we figured out during the pandemic is that it really isn't all about racing. And, there's so much more to these sports, and we couldn't even necessarily train together, and that sort of thing. Yeah. But there's just so much that these sports offer outside of even the social aspect and the reward of racing. That's the big thing we found out, is that racing really is the reward for the work that you're putting in. And the people that stuck with it found out really quickly that they really do love the training as much as or even more than racing.
Yeah. And the ability to adapt, right? So like there's a lot of folks that we adapted goals. Like, so instead of having a race that you were targeting, it's like, okay, well, what do we do? We're not just going to sit here and throw a pity party because we can't race. Like, what do we do? Let's take action on something. Let's set new goals. Let's try to achieve new heights. What can we do now? And actually we have a podcast, I think, if I remember right, where we talked about the benefits of a race-free season.
Yeah.
And it was like the amount of structure people were able to do, the fact that we weren't trying to like have so many like rest weeks and those that race a lot trying to make sure they felt good going into a bunch of races. It was like you could actually almost put together a more consistent plan. Less travel, like people weren't traveling anymore, so I think there was definitely some big benefits there.
I mean, there were a lot of people that actually made some really significant gains because we weren't worried about backing off for a race.
Yeah.
We weren't worried about necessarily being fresh all the time or like in specific times of the year. So we could just keep pushing it, recover, keep pushing it, recover. And we just kept taking these great steps up. There was by far.
Cool. All right, we're going to make it a little bit hard.
Uh-oh.
So for each of y'all, who is on your list of top 3 guests?
Who's on the list of top 3 guests?
That actually have been guests?
Yeah.
Top 3 guests that have been here.
We haven't had too many. No, in the total of 101 episodes, I don't know how many interviews we've done. Maybe 20.
Are you stalling, Doe?
Yeah, I'm stalling so I can think. Yeah.
I'm thinking, so I'm going to go with, I really enjoyed having both Johnny and Seth on, just to get that pro perspective.
Yep.
It was obviously really cool to hear that other side. We spend a lot of time where we're, working with a lot of our athletes. So, a bunch of those interviews, I've enjoyed every one of our athlete interviews as well. But we already knew so much about them, So I felt like it was really cool to interview, Johnny's now coaching with us, but to interview Seth and Johnny and kind of get their perspective, talk to them about, all the really cool stuff that they're doing, the questions that I had, but hadn't had the opportunity to like have a casual conversation with them.
I'm hoping that we get Seth back on the couch soon because since we talked to him, he has taken quite the leap in his performances and training and everything else. And just to get him back and ask him like what changed, what are you doing differently now than you were then?
Was it
besides getting older?
Was it the couch juju that do we need to get that couch back?
Yeah. So word on the street is he's coming back sometime in March, and so hopefully we'll get him back on for an interview. But I would agree, those two. I think I enjoy listening to the perspective of the pro athlete and getting ideas on how they're both different and very similar to the time crunched or amateur athlete. I really did. Obviously I like talking to Hart Robinson. Hart is he's kind of a one-of-a-kind guy in his humor. His humor, he's maybe got the driest sense of humor of anybody you've ever met, and it's hard to get the guy to crack a smile because he's afraid that if he cracks a smile, you'll get that he's being humorous.
Yes, the humor is that you don't know that it's...
Yeah.
Yes.
So, having him in talking about Leadville and some of his performances and Unbound and stuff like that, you know, that sort of thing. And the best part about him is he is a time crunch athlete. The guy owns...
He's got 32 kids now?
He's got somewhere like 30 to 35 kids.
Yeah.
All boys.
All boys, yep.
And he's got a business, like a growing business.
Yep.
And he still manages to get in the training.
Started another business.
It's
2 businesses now.
And he's still married.
Still married. Yep.
And gets in the training to go and perform like he does, like, second place single speed at Breck Epic.
Yeah.
He was top 50 at Unbound single speed.
Well, he was second in single speed, but top 50
overall. Yeah, single speed. So, just
200.
just kind of get an idea. And when you talk to him, you understand that when he's dedicated, there's nothing stopping him. And but he also takes his recoveries extremely seriously.
Yeah, he's one that when I'm chatting with athletes, I always say, okay, you don't have to stress about doing too little really on a light week if you've earned it.
Yeah.
Like earn your unloads, earn your rest weeks, adapt, come back stronger. But we'd rather you do too little versus too much. And he's someone who I always kind of go back to in that regard. It's like, it's okay to do less. I'd rather you do less so we know you're fresh. We know you've had the chance to recover before we go into another hard block. Otherwise, if you're trying to burn it nonstop, 4th of July.
Yeah.
I haven't done my third. I'm going to go with our friends from across the pond.
It's always fun to talk to Annie and Johnny, and they have a wealth of knowledge in sport performance, in human performance, and endurance sports, and stuff like that. And they've both been high level athletes.
Yep.
Johnny was an Olympic canoeist.
Yep.
Andy was a professional triathlete and ultra marathoner and stuff like that. So they have personal experience, and they're also very extreme, educated in it as well. So you can pretty much, we can ask them anything and get a great response.
Well, I think that's what was fun is, and what they even said afterwards is like, man, we're so used to just talking about hydration, but we ended up talking about
low volume
training, and how they do it while traveling a ton. And so if you're someone who travels a lot and is training on 6 hours a week, and wanting to compete at a high level, there's some good tips on that one.
Yeah, my last one was Murray Scott, talking to Murray. The OG for local triathlon. He's been racing since the 80s.
Yep.
And just talking, I love talking to folks like that because they give you such a big insight into how the sport has changed. And also there's some hilarious stories. Some of them we couldn't actually talk about on on the podcast, but it was a great conversation. And I really enjoyed.
We might need to start another podcast that is just like the before and after conversations. We've got to keep our clean rating on the.
I keep saying, truth be told, I have a hard time not throwing in some F-bombs and stuff like that. I was born the son of a sailor, so.
Not really.
Yeah, so maybe one day we'll start a less clean version of the podcast.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How the hot dog is made.
That's a terrible analogy.
All right, so that covers our interviews. What would your favorite topic have been? Like, what in the past that y'all have addressed is kind of your favorite topic for each of you?
I mean anything that is relevant to me and what I would like. I like doing the course previews and stuff. When we did the Memphis 70.3 course preview, because we've ridden these roads and run this, and we know the park back and forth, so it's really easy. I really like talking about bike fitting and stuff like that. It's kind of my forte, and aside from in coaching. But just helping people, I love it because it's like every person's different. It's like a puzzle to me, and and I'm really good at Sudoku. So
I was playing Sudoku last night.
I hate Wordle though.
Don't play Wordle.
Anyway, so any type of bike fitting topic, I really enjoy doing because there's so many things that go into like getting rid of knee pain or back pain or saddle discomfort or something like that, or even just dialing somebody in that doesn't even know that they're not in the optimal position.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of times I get somebody in for a bike fit. They're like, I just want to get it checked out, like that. And we make some big changes and they're like, I had no idea. That sort of thing. So the time we did the podcast on fixing knee pain, that's something we kind of went into pretty good detail on it.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do more of those, that series of bike fitting things.
Definitely. Yeah. I think I enjoyed the golden rules of racing as a team
That's a good one.
Talking through strategy, talking through tactics, any of the podcasts that we've done where we talked more through.
If you ever see Bryant at a race, don't ask him how his race went, because you're opening a can of worms that you will never get closed. If there's one thing that Bryant can do for hours is talk race strategy.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Johnny Brown and I yesterday were talking quite a bit of race strategy. It was like, okay, time to focus again. But it's like there's so many, and that's what I love about road racing, crit racing, like even group ride stuff, is it's a very dynamic but also intellectual style thing. You've got to learn to read a race. You got to know what are the objectives of the other people in the race. Like, what's your own team's objective? What's your personal objective? What are the strengths and weaknesses? What are people doing that you feel like they should be doing based on what you think their objective should be? And then using all that when you're redlined and having to process all that and make split-second decisions out on the road. I think that's a super exciting part of the sport. It's not always the strongest person that wins, but then just that dynamic of, okay, how do you best use the strengths and weaknesses of your own team? What are the do's and don'ts of racing as a team? Because when, cycling's very much a team sport, and you don't, one person gets the win, but it really, if you've got a good team that's working and cohesive and in sync with each other, it's awesome. But I feel like that was, it's something that we, preach a lot with our own team that we're on. But I think there's just so much value in getting the most you can out of the sport by following those rules.
There's so much to racing as a team and strategy. And you can, the amazing thing is you can totally change your performances in races by just educating yourself on strategy without even changing your fitness.
Oh yeah.
You can be say a mid-pack fitness person, but still do really well because you're great at thinking on your feet, or you kind of can read people really well, or what your job is on the team or whatever. That's my favorite part of cycling, is that you don't have to show up to every race in peak fitness, and you can still get a decent result.
And then one of the other ones, the how not to get dropped, right? Didn't we do the group how not to get dropped? I think that was it's similar. It's stuff you apply to a race as well, but we're
going to probably repeat that one as a throwback here shortly, because it was such a good, and we had actually done that. I don't know how many times we've actually done that talk. Because it is.
Because I'm usually telling you after a ride. I'm like, Dale, here are the keys to not get dropped anymore.
What were those
Dale?
again? What were those things?
Oh, you said stay off the front for the first time? Oh, okay.
Don't go into the wind. You have to draft?
What? Dale's first crit. I didn't realize I had to draft the whole time. Yeah, helps. All right. What else we got?
Is there a topic that you have wanted to cover but you haven't gotten to yet?
Didn't I just say that we can't cuss on this? There's a lot of topics that we come up with ideas all the time, and there's polarizing topics left and right that we or like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
We generally stay very neutral.
Yeah.
We avoid the controversial for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they'd be fun to talk about and have a civilized conversation about.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we tend to like come up with topics, and then be like, maybe not worth it. Things like doping. It might be on the docket, but
I was gonna say that was actually gonna be mine. I think there's just so much that people don't realize, like from what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Yeah.
Like every year we do our new athlete or our athlete pledge for people on our team, and we brought USADA in. Gosh, that must have been 2015, maybe 16, something like that, just to give a talk and like, hey. There's a lot of people that just don't know. But ignorance to what
I was once told by a judge
is not
ignorance is not a defense.
Exactly. So like say Sudafed.
I really was.
Yeah.
It was only a speeding violation,
But like that's one of those things. It's like, you know, Sudafed is something that's banned in competition. Yeah. It's not banned out of competition. I guess up to certain amounts. But it's like there's rules for all this. Some stuff's allowed in competition. Some stuff's not. You know, like there's certain stuff that's totally banned. You know, everyone's this day and age. Doctors are very okay with giving out testosterone to folks if your T levels are low.
Yeah.
As you get older, your testosterone levels naturally drop. That's what happens when you age. So it's a doping offense just to get back to normal levels. That's like not allowed in or out of competition. So there was people that had no clue of that were at that USADA presentation. Like they didn't realize any of that. So I think just that the education surrounding that, you know, we're 100% behind clean sport. Hate cheaters in any capacity. And so I think that'd be a fun topic to just get more from someone who knows more about it.
And there's like, as far as topics go, I mean, if we're considering interviews, there's a ton of people that would be awesome to interview.
Yeah, I want to get David Goggins in here.
Yeah.
Once we have the one that you're allowed to cuss on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there'd be a lot of people that would be fun. A fun interview. A lot of the
if you guys have recommendations, shoot them out.
We'll
start.
If you got a connection, I
mean, I reached out to Scott Funston. He didn't respond.
Oh, come on, Funston.
Somebody else responded.
Huh?
That guy that turned around when you called Scott Funston's name, but it wasn't him.
Yeah,
we kind of already told the story, but yeah.
Story. Yeah.
Brian started yelling at juniors while we were at cyclocross worlds this year, and one of them flipped around like he was Scott Funston, and it turns out he wasn't.
Was not. Nope.
So, the next question was, who would be your dream guests to have on?
Oh, daggum, man.
Don't jump in the gun here, huh?
Dadgum. Dream guests.
I'm going to go with, what do you think? Maybe Peter Sagan?
Pizza? I would struggle in that interview because of the accents.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have, I could name any of the big professional triathlete names out there right now. It would be awesome to interview. I think the Norwegians would probably be a tough one. I mean, they speak pretty decent English. But
I think Sam Long and Lionel Sanders at
together.
the same time is the one that I would be jazzed about.
Yeah.
I think that'd be epic.
Yeah, I mean, Jan Frodeno would be great just because he's, everyone calls him the GOAT. He is the top. He's the man to beat. Just kind of getting his perspective on everything, and even even going through the ranks, the ITU ranks into long course and stuff like that. I think that'd be a great conversation. I would like to interview like Dave Scott, and those guys who were doing the original Ironman races and winning the championships and getting their perspective on how the sport's changed and do they like it or do they not? I think some of the guys who were there originally probably have some very specific opinions on how the sport has either changed for the better or worse or whatever. So, I mean, any of the big names would be great. I think it'd be fun to, one would be fun would be Talbot Cox, and Talbot is he runs the social media for a lot of different professionals, and he does a lot of the social media out there. Well, you're not in the tri world too deep like I am, but he's kind of a behind the scenes guy for all these different professionals, and he gets to go to all the big events as a media guy and stuff like that. And so I'm sure it would just be fun to talk to him on if he would even be willing to spill the beans on some of the funny stuff that's happened behind the scenes while they're making YouTube videos or whatever like that. That's the kind of stuff that I think it would be be fun. I'm sure he's got plenty of funny stories about Lionel and some of the other folks that he's running their channels and stuff like that. So, yeah. I mean, I'm game for any big name interview. It'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the ones that like where it deals with mindset. So that's I mean, the old Goggins, his is the same. It'd probably be the same. So we'd have to come up with some new questions for him. But yeah, anything that deals with mental, the mental side of sport, the mental side of getting the most out of of yourself that you can. I mean, I think those are, and that's kind of a topic I love to talk more about with your elite level people. I mean, because at the end of the day, yeah, they're getting paid to do the sport, but they don't necessarily. I think there's the assumption that every person at the elite level just loves the sport so much, and that's why they're good. It doesn't mean that every day you're wanting to go out there and put in 5 hours on the bike or 6 hours on the bike or train when you're tired or do the things, forgo going to family vacations. And, there's a lot of sacrifice that's made in order to be elite level. When we watch it on YouTube or we see them performing well in a race, we don't see the hours and hours. And the struggles, the mental struggles, the physical struggles, everything that goes into that. So.
I would like to talk to like getting like on the mindset thing, just talking to them about maybe how their willingness to suffer has either like stayed the same or kind of waned over the years of their professional career. Like even like for somebody like who's maybe started in the junior ranks or whatever. And those
Have
kids,
you gotten tired
those
of suffering?
Those kids will demolish themselves, over and over and over and over. And then somebody who's like been in it forever, like Ferdino or somebody that like, how hard is it for you to put yourself into the hurt locker these days? Has it changed? Has it not? That sort of thing.
Has it changed for you? I mean, you're no young spring chicken anymore.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, shut the you're older than me, right? I mean, to some extent, some, I guess. I think most triathletes hide behind the doing long course, and it's just a different type of suffering. And to me, like the pain of doing hard like sprint races and Olympic races is nothing like doing a 70.3 or a full. Like that's just mental. Like we got to keep going. We're still out here.
Yeah,
like
keep eating.
Keep
drinking.
It's like it's not like I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna like this is the worst pain I've ever felt. Like it's different.
Yeah. I was spinning on the trainer last night, and we're going down a little side street here, but I was watching YouTube, and Kempenart's pro cyclist, he was doing like his own little vlog thing that he had going. They had a 3-person training camp going. They were staying at a hotel that was simulated high altitude. So you were like sleeping at different barometric pressure levels and like different. So they were sleeping at high altitude, but the question was they were about to do 9 by 1 minute max was the workout of the day. 9 by 1s, him and this other guy.
Is it full recovery?
With full recovery.
Okay.
And then the question was like, what would you prefer? Doing a 9 by 1 or would you prefer doing a 1 by 20 minute? So, twice as long if you're doing the 20. And the dude that he was asking it to, the other pro cyclist was like, I'm going with the 1 by 20. Because then I'm only wrapping my head around the suffering like one time.
Yeah.
And the intensity of that suffering is different. And you kind of pace yourself. You can pace yourself on it.
Yeah.
So the longer the duration, the more pacing really comes in.
Yeah.
But
well, not to keep this going, but I think we get to a duration where you're not maximal anymore. Like it's not maximal when you're going over like 20 minutes or an hour. Like you're going so long that you have no choice but to regulate yourself. And while that's still hard and you're still pushing, and I don't doubt that the pros are suffering,
especially as it gets near the end.
Yeah, toward the end, I think the average age grouper isn't taking themselves to that point. And it's a different suffering. It's just, we got to keep doing this. It kind of hurts. Let's just keep pressing.
Yeah.
I wish I could go harder.
Yeah.
Like keep
end of
eating.
any effort, like it's only the last part that the suffering really starts happening, right? So like a 1 minute, the whole thing pretty much
Terrible.
is terrible. But like, if I'm doing a 20-minute test, it's like, okay, yeah, I can't have the first 5 minutes be as hard as the last 5 minutes because it's just not going to work out. I won't be able to maintain.
Yeah.
So you're pacing and then, going into what you were just saying. So it's like the last part is suffering. It's not the whole event.
I think we've got a few episodes coming on suffering.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last question. With the loss of the big couch, do you have any last words for the big couch?
I've got one. I'm surprised it went down the stairs as easy. I think I was just scarred mentally when we were trying to get it up in the box still.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have to saw it in half. I told you how many times that we were sawing it. I'm
Brian
like,
said
don't put that on Facebook Marketplace. And the only way I'm helping you get it out of here is saw it up through the window.
Yeah, nah, I mean, it's a little sad, a little end of an era type thing. I'll pour one out for it. But
It's kind of hurting our sock sponsorship opportunity.
yeah, we're going to fix that, though. We're working on a new setup here. So
Coaches on Shays Lounges?
chaise lounges and cozy sacks,
Beach chairs.
beach chairs.
Ooh, I could get around that
the
cozy sack
low
idea.
beach chairs.
Yes,
Your
yes.
feet.
Yeah, knees are up by your ears.
Yeah.
Papasan?
I don't even know what that is.
No, I do.
Yeah.
There's those big bowl-shaped things, like the half bowl with the cushion inside of it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a half a
Hammocks?
sphere.
Yeah,
Hammocks.
hammocks will work.
No, I think that's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to, freshen it up and bring a
To be honest,
for those that if you don't watch the videos, then it doesn't matter to you anyways.
Yeah.
But
It actually came about due to Dale's lack of deodorant usage.
so
So kind of going full circle
Full
here.
circle, yeah.
Back to that question from earlier.
we've come all the way back.
All right, episode 101
Yeah. All right.
in the books. That was all full of surprises.
Yeah. Wasn't quite the train wreck I was expecting. We appreciate you guys hanging out, listening, watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Peace.